Sir Tom Barton, who works with St. Peter's Western. When you first started working with these guys,
Yep.
what did you find as your biggest challenges?
Getting them across the line to actually try yoga was pretty challenging. So a lot of them just thought yoga was a bit airy-fairy, a bit fluffy, and getting them across the line to experience it for the first time was the biggest challenge. And once they had experienced that it was actually both a mental and physical challenge, they bought in pretty quickly.
How did you get over that barrier? How did you convince them to get going and trying?
From my perspective, I get to look at them from a physio as well, which is really nice. So I guess I got the chance to talk to them a little bit more when they're on the table and show them a few things that I could do and that they should be able to do. If they're a world-class athlete and I'm a aging 30-year-old yogi, then they should be able to do more than what I can do. So I sort of demonstrated a few things. They saw that was something that could improve their swimming, and that helped them sort of decide to take a leap of faith with me, which was nice.
So to expand on that, what areas of swimming do you really see a yoga practice being beneficial for?
It's beneficial for everything really, but to be specific, it's body control, body awareness, so the ability to maintain a long trunk and generate strength through your hips and shoulders, which I think is the foundation for a really good swimming stroke. And then for recovery, it's amazing for recovery. So having the ability for me to come in for a midweek session with these guys, work on both body control, awareness, strength, and then doing some active recovery work for them is fantastic to get the most out of the last few sessions of the week.
So now, looking at that timing of what you do with these guys, how do the yoga sessions change as they go through their season, as they change through their own periodization, or does it?
It varies more according to the individual. So, for example, like Mitch was traveling a lot, so he was just doing some maintenance work while he was overseas. So every day he'd do a little 10-minute session, and we tried to keep that as a routine rather than trying to add too much complexity into it. When I have the chance to work one-on-one or two-on-one with these guys, we try to identify on a day-by-day basis what they need. So we're doing some assessment work, which is based on swim screens, stuff that we do as physios, and then incorporating that into their program to try and then optimise what they're doing in the pool and what they're doing in the gym.
When you look at the mental aspect of it,
Mm-hmm.
because we've just talked and brought in the positive aspects that can, what do you think going on specifics? How can that help?
I think the biggest and the easiest thing is the development of a routine, and a pre-swim routine for them gets them in that, increases the likelihood of them getting in a zone, so to speak. So if they do the same routine here at St. Peter's and then they take that to the state championships and to Olympic trials, and they have that piece of consistency where they're focusing on their breath, their awareness, and they know how to either upregulate or downregulate their nervous system, then they can modulate that for however they're feeling when it comes to the bigger competitions, hopefully Olympics and Olympic finals as well.
And when looking specifically at breath, what aspects do you work with them on, and where do you feel that can translate other than, as you just specified, or, is that where you really see it being beneficial?
The awareness, so for a swimmer, they're constantly breathing in and out through their mouth. So when they're training hard, they hit the wall, and it's very unlikely that they're going to be breathing in and out through their nose. So the biggest challenge for me is to get them out of that mouth breathing, that upper chest dominance, and it's purely the education piece. I think has been the biggest thing for them, is to learn how to breathe through diaphragmatic breathing as a baseline when they're not at the pool. And if I get that, then that's huge, and I'll be really happy with that. The next progression is to take that awareness of being able to keep a calm, steady breath when they're then under a little bit more duress. So we try to link their movements with their breath. So we're inhaling with length and exhaling as we contract or flex through the spine. And I think that translates really nicely to swimming training, and then being able to rest adequately afterwards as well.
When you look from a physio point of view, having those eyes and, like you talked about, using the swimming screening,
Yeah.
what do you find are some of the biggest areas that the swimmers you've worked with need work on?
From a mobility perspective, the
Let-
two biggest things are hips and shoulders. Okay, hips, we sit too much. It's without a shadow of a doubt, it's probably the biggest problem. I know most people have shoulder problems as swimmers, but quite often the shoulders they cop the brunt of the fact that the hips are tight. They're causing more drag force through the water, which then overloads the shoulders over a long period of time. So if I had 2 minutes to look after someone, it would be their hips and their lats. So hips, lats and pecs, and for the majority of clients or swimmers or athletes, that'd get them feeling much better and decreasing their drag through the water, which quite nicely it helps them decrease the chance of injury but also increase their speed in the water.
Then when we look at the specifics, let's just talk about Mitch and Madi. The frequency that you work with them, as you said, you're trying to get them to implement something regularly, daily.
Yep.
Then how much you work with them on the one-on-one and how much you work on a more extended session like we did today.
So both of the guys I look in clinically, we have one session a week at the moment. They're both pretty low maintenance characters, which is nice. So depending on how they're feeling, we sort of allot their time, whether it's going to be mostly physio, a little bit of yoga, or just a little bit of physio and a lot of yoga. So we'll either have a half an hour session or a 45-minute session, and we break that up accordingly to what they need. But there's always a combination of both, because I find even if I'm doing physio and I'm releasing certain areas, we then want to consolidate with improving movement patterns after we've gained a new range, which is really important. And then we either do a group session with 2 or 3 of the guys here another time during the week. So we get to see them at least twice a week, occasionally 3 times a week if there's something untoward going on, whether their shoulders or their neck sore. We try and jump on that as quickly as possible, and then that allows less time out of the water.